We're recording this video on Christmas Eve, and before we get started with the review, I just wanted to take a moment to tell you just how thankful we are to have you out there watching these videos. They're fun to make, they're fun to put together, and it's fun to talk to all of you. It's been one of the nice things about 2020, and we hope to carry that into 2021. So thank you very much for being out there, and the best of holiday seasons, a Merry Christmas to all of our fellow nerds around the world. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and episode 11 of season 3 of Star Trek Discovery called Su'Kal. Su'Kal is the name of the survivor on this Kelpian Federation ship that was at the center of the burn when it happened over 100 years ago. And so with good telemetry and location of where exactly this ship was, the Admiral gives permission for Discovery to spore jump there and to investigate. And so with that, they find that the area is much more turbulent than they expected it to be. It became a great drain on the shields for Discovery to be able to even get through part of it. They jump out of the nebula and then send Booker through with his ship, which is a little bit more resistant to the radiation and is able to find a safe spot for the ship to jump into and for them to beam down their party, which consists of Burnham, Saru, and Culber. And what they find when they do beam down is that they are not themselves. They're wearing different clothes. They're not on a ship as far as they can tell, but rather in a holographic simulation of a forest that turns into something that looks like an Escher painting. And it's in ruins. There are parts of where the holo isn't working properly. We have all kinds of computer-generated beings and things like that. But our heroes find themselves not even being the same race they once were. Burnham is now a Trill. Culber is now a Bajoran. And the most striking is Saru is human. And so with trying to deal with this while they're figuring out that they must be in some kind of computer simulation, they go to find this one survivor, which they find is a offspring of the scientist that sent out the distress signal, which is still gone automated over all these years. It seems that this child has grown up through this holographic program that tries to teach it about Kelpian culture, about Starfleet, and other things. And there's also a monster. You don't usually see monsters in Star Trek. They used this one with great effect and explained it eventually to a point to where it was believable. There were some other things that were kind of interesting about this, that the planet that they were at, that this nebula was all around, is made almost completely out of dilithium. Now, the ship in its original mission was to find a rich vein of dilithium on this planet, and apparently there was a whole lot more to it than anybody thought. So it looks like, though, that we have been kind of diverted through all of this. And let's back up a little bit. The entire series has been kind of what caused the burn. And we find out in this episode what causes the burn, but that's not the point of where this whole story is going. It's only a piece of the puzzle that we still need to get to the end in 2 more episodes. So the finale starts next week and then goes over 2 weeks. So this ended in a cliffhanger And next week, we'll know a little bit more about what's going to happen, how they're going to make themselves get out of this. And the emerald chain is involved in this as well. And that means we see Osira again. She shows herself to be quite the adversary. And unfortunately, with Saru and Burnham and the Doctor on the planet's surface, it leaves Tilly in her first command, holding the ship, and against such a big bad as Osira is, she hardly has a way to fight back. They're able to cloak the ship for a while, but then an explosion causes some difficulties, and they have to uncloak, and at that point, Osira gets the advantage. They're able to beam over because their shields are down, and then take over the ship, and that's where they leave us in the cliffhanger. But a lot of what this episode is about is trying to get the confidence of the survivor. He has, for over 100 years, had no contact with anyone except for the holodeck programs. And these programs have been running the same thing for over 100 years. He's seen them all over and over and over, and mistakes Saru and Burnham and Hugh as being another program that somehow he never has seen before. And we also find that the reason that they have changed their appearance is because the hologram computer has decided that as themselves they would be too upsetting to the surviving life form, who would want to see some other things like he's already seen in the program. And so we have, instead of a Kelpian and 2 humans, we have a Bajoran, a Trill, and 1 human. So that's where we have that. There is still radiation there. Apparently the child is unfazed by the radiation, no doubt, because he's been exposed to it his entire life. If he's gotten through as much as it is now, he probably doesn't have any trouble with it going forward. However, our heroes could only be there 4 hours before they were going to start having significant cell damage. And while there is a rather heroic rescue attempt by Adira, who goes down with radiation medicine, which may hold him off a little bit more, that's not the biggest of Discovery's problems once they have had their unsuccessful toe-to-toe with Osira. So in the upcoming episode, we're going to have to see how they get themselves out of this, if they're going to be able to make it to Starfleet headquarters and what they'll be able to do there, and if the fleet is close enough by in order to fight them, or if they've been diverted elsewhere. Osira tends to cover her bases. So we're going to see more of her. We're going to see what the crew is going to be able to do without their captain. Now, Burnham has managed to be rescued by Booker, and they are following Discovery back to Starfleet, so there may be something there to go on as well. All in all, though, I would say that it was probably the most edge of your seat show that we've seen so far, because we're seeing, first of all, our characters running against the clock, trying to convince this Kelpian that they're not a computer program and are there to help them, that they've got to find their way out of that, that Discovery has to be able to reach them, and then Discovery's problems with the Emerald Chain, and add all of that in with the problems that Starfleet may be having, and it is a very tense episode, and I can't wait to see how it resolves itself. A good Christmas Eve presentation, I should say, and on New Year's Eve we'll see how they're able to deal with the emerald chain. If we even see it then, it may go completely into the finale, which will be 2 weeks away. So we're keeping a watch on this, and we hope that you're keeping a watch on us. If you are, please subscribe and click the bell so you know when our next video is coming your way. And also, please leave a remark in the comments below. We'd certainly like to hear what you have to think about this episode and where you think it's going to lead. And until next time, don't go far. Once again, Merry Christmas.